Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to explore the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and his book Meditations to discover the mindset that made him truly unshakable. Now, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor for nearly 2 decades, was a man considered a cut above the rest. He was renowned for his wise and virtuous rule. He was called one of the 5 good emperors and managed to lead Rome through a particularly tumultuous period. Now, despite the challenges Aurelius faced, he remained steadfast in his beliefs and guided by the principles of Stoicism. He would eventually record his thoughts and musings in a personal diary, which would later become one of the most famous texts in ancient philosophy, Meditations. Now, one of the key teachings of Meditations is the importance of self-control and rationality in the face of adversity. Aurelius encourages us to rise above our emotions and focus on our actions, reminding us that true strength lies in our ability to remain calm and level-headed in difficult situations. To fully appreciate the lessons Aurelius's, can educators instruct students on perseverance? To begin, we need to learn about the difficulties he encountered throughout his life. 6 months into his reign, 161, there are problems on the eastern border. The Parthian Empire, a long-standing rival, decided to put the new ruler to the test. They invaded Armenia, installed a new king, which was clearly an insult that threatened their stability. Aurelius sent his brother and Kio Emperor Lucia some Maris on a campaign to eliminate the intruders. After 4 years of combat, Varus and his generals won. Armenia was once more firmly under the control of the Roman Empire, and the Kio Emperor triumphantly returned. However, on his way back, something lethal happened to him. There were new cases of a disease that was often fatal as the troops marched back through the empire, beginning in Asia Minor, moving on to Greece, and finally reaching Italy. The rash would begin with a high fever, headache, muscle aches, and fatigue. It would then progress into raised bumps, fluid-filled blisters, which would eventually cross over and scab, covering the entire body. As the disease would manifest internally, experts believe it was what we now call smallpox. In the worst cases, those infected can be seen coughing up blood. Up to 2,000 people a day, or 7 to 10% of the Roman population, were said to have died from the plague. As Rome was debilitated by the conflict with the Parthians, and the counter-9 plague clans from the north considered this to be an open door. After attacks on the northern border, the Roman army and the empire as a whole were severely damaged in a series of bloody battles against the barbarian tribes. When we learn about the difficult period Marcus Aurelius had to lead his empire through, it becomes even more surprising that he was able to rule with such virtue and restraint. The standard strategies that were used against the Parthians would not work against such unconventional adversaries. The conflict would last for more than 7 years before Marcus finally reclaimed control of the north in 175 AD. You are aware that giving birth to emperors like the infamous Nero and even Mark, who has his own son Commodus, would prove to be too much responsibility and power for many. Therefore, the question arises as to how the alias manages to keep his resolve throughout all of this. By practicing acceptance. He tells us in Meditations that acceptance is more than just accepting things as they are or resigning oneself to fate. He believed that acceptance enabled individuals to maintain their inner peace and stability even in the midst of chaos. Instead, it is a deliberate and conscious choice to embrace reality, regardless of how difficult it may be, and to work toward a better outcome within one's control. He held the belief that everything that happens to you is part of a larger plan designed by nature and has been woven into your destiny since you were born. He had faith that whatever happened was for the best and meant to test his character. You go through something. Good. It was destined for you by nature and was already a part of the pattern. He said that those who refuse to accept reality and wish things had been different, said that complaining and resisting fate would be to go against nature and become a kind of world abscess. Aurelius would try to live in harmony with whatever was presented to him and move with the current of life, trying to find the good in seemingly bad things. The Stoic emperor also teaches us in Meditations that what makes us suffer is not what happens to us, but how we perceive it. His belief that nothing could harm him unless he allowed it to do so made Aurelius unbreakable. There wasn't the actual occasion, however, his negative impression of it that would cause trouble for Marcus. To prevent harm, simply observing things as objective truths rather than judging them as good or bad is all that is required. When we control how we feel about events, we also control how we perceive them. If you can't see harm, stop doing that and everything will be fine. Even if the body you are attached to has been stabbed, burned, sprayed with pus, or consumed by cancer, the part of you that makes judgments should remain silent. This is reminiscent of the Stoic belief that we should concentrate on the things we can change rather than the things we can't change. Picture yourself aboard a ship in the middle of the ocean where the weather is getting rough, the waves are getting bigger, and the wind is howling. The weather is out of your control, but how you react to it is. A better strategy than focusing on the weather would be to focus on your actions and attitude. Anxiety and feelings of helplessness are only exacerbated when we focus on external factors. Realize that you control your mind and not external events, and you will find strength. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a thing.